you pay me to travel and get everywhere and do. When I walk on a stage, that's 1000% free. We all have to think differently now. The world is changing, affordability is changing, and I want everyone to look at things differently and what's available and possible for you. Like what I've learned about myself is all of those experiences have strengthened my trust muscle in me.
Hey there, welcome. It's Tracy Holland, your host on Potential to Powerhouse. So I have an idea. Have you had a situation in which you believed something and on the other side of that belief, you were right? Either way, whether what you believed was benefiting you or what you believed was potentially harming you. This concept of whatever it is that you believe, you were right. Today's conversation is a perfect example of how a believer of a future self came to reality with a woman. Your socks will be knocked off. Her name is Trish Suhr, who spent her time as a young woman in a funeral parlor as her family grew their family business in the funeral home business as a Kentucky girl. And she traded her sweet tea for green juice when she moved to Los Angeles. Her story of her transition on how she got to LA and her early days of entertaining family and friends as she built her business around her comedy and her delightful blend of Southern charm and West Coast wit. She serves up laughter and a side of sunshine in a way that almost no one I've ever met does. She's had massive TV hits like Clean House. You may see her or have seen her on The Office, and she's infectious. Her energy, her quick wit has made her a fan favorite. But one of the things I love so much about Trish is her willingness to talk about what it has taken for her to build her career, as well as hosting and holding down the fort at Camping World, where she has communicated to those all over the country about what it means to start to edit your life, pull down all of the excess, and be in a home that just makes you feel cozy and warm and delicious and invited. And that's one of my favorite things about Trish. I think what you're going to hear is whatever it is you believe, you were right. And you are right. And so how you think, how you believe, is it serving you? Or do you need to really take a home edit on the ways in which you're speaking to yourself and think a little bit more clearly about being pro you rather than questioning yourself and holding judgment? And if this serves up some dose of inspiration, today is a minute of your day to take time to think about what kinds of things are you saying, how are you speaking to yourself, and do you need to do an audit on how you speak to yourself so that you can maximize every aspect of this life in a way that you enjoy and love with your friends and family the way you deserve to. So I'll see you on the other side. Talk to you soon. Are you a California dreamer or are you a Southern belle? Okay, yes?
Both. Yes, both. Yes, I always say I put the Southern in Southern California. So I've been a Southern California dreamer since I was a little bitty baby. I mean, really, my family used to laugh all the time because I would just walk around declaring in my little town of 5,000 people, I think it's 8,000 now, in Middlesboro, Kentucky. I'd walk around saying, I'm going to move to Hollywood. I'm moving to Hollywood, y'all, and I'm going to have my own show, and I'm going to win an Emmy. And the only reason I wanted an Emmy is because I saw Carol Burnett win one, and she looked so glamorous in a Bob Mackie gown. And I was like, I want one of those. Like, I thought that's why you got the dress.
I totally get it. And you know what? Today we're going to have so much fun because the listeners love to hear stories about how people have built their lives into this powerhouse success, which you have so many successes, Trish, across entertainment and comedy and business and your endorsements and everything you do in the world. And everyone's going to know you from something different. But I think what's interesting is your personal story of how you started and what was like growing up and what your family's business was, to me, is kind of the crux of how all of this came about. So I'd love you to share it.
Thank you. I grew up in a big Italian family, but in the mountains of Kentucky. So when you see your traditional, you usually think of like New York and loud, and we got the sauce on. Well, we had all that. We just had Southern accents. So it's just very funny to think about it. And most people's families were in they were in the moving business or they were in some kind of family business, right? A lot of waste management. Our family was in the funeral home business, and that's what we did. We still are to this day, and that's what they did. They were first generation born Americans that got to go to college, my grandfather and his brother. So they were like, what are we going to do? We need something that's got some sustainability, recession proof. So they went into real estate and they went into the funeral business and banking. That was the three things they did in our little bitty town. It sounds glamorous, y'all, but with 5,000 people, you don't want too many people leaving the earth.
No kidding. But funeral business, that I would think is a really good business, very steady.
It is a very steady business. It's very interesting because where I'm from, it's so small, Tracy, that there's no bars. We just became a wet county, which means alcohol can be bought or purchased at the grocery store and some restaurants in 2020. Wow. So if that tells you, there's no place to go hang out. So people would come in the funeral home because we always had coffee. We didn't have coffee shops. We had coffee going in the lobby. And so people would come in, grab a cup of coffee and go, hey, who y'all got? And that's my childhood. I would go, well, let me go check. I was a little kid. I didn't know that wasn't normal, right? That wasn't, but you got to know everybody. You got to see people at their worst and learn how to deal with them and be there for them. So I think it just taught this level of compassion in me from, the moment I was able to realize what was happening and how to be just present, which no one teaches you how to be present, especially anymore, but it just taught you to be very aware and read a room. You had to learn to read a room. You couldn't just be a goofball kid when somebody's lost somebody. So I learned very quickly just what that looked like. And on the other side of that, you're also in sales, which is weird. Right. So not only are you in the grieving business, you're also in the sales business. So I had to learn about when things were appropriate to bring up and what it looked like and pre-needs and casket sales and monument sales, which are headstones. And I was like, what in the, I didn't know that other people are unaware of that. To this day, all my friends call me the funeral whisperer because when somebody leaves this earth, they will call me because there's nobody to concierge that for people, which by the way, that might be our next business.
That is smart, right?
Truly, because everybody calls me. And I tell people in life, the two most expensive things you'll ever do is get married and die. And you need somebody to negotiate both.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So
no matter what.
That's a whole new concept. I hadn't even thought of that.
I know it's wild when you have a relationship to it where you're able to compartmentalize. And I mean that with compassion. I say that because I know when people have unexpected deaths, right? They call me because they're like, Trish, I know that you can make this phone call because my mom's having a moment. I don't know what to do with her. I'm like, I got you, girl. So I'm always that phone a friend to just help people walk through it, which was a natural step for me to go into comedy. I know that seems like a natural way to go, but I always wanted to do stand-up because I loved making people laugh at their saddest moments. Around the funeral home, I got to see people at their worst, and I would try to bring levity in a way, because it's such an emotional roller coaster for people that as a little kid, I knew I could do something with a little levity to bring people joy. And that's just kind of where I learned. I was like, wait, maybe I want to do this. And then I had people like Carol Burnett, and you'd watch shows that you love and you go, I want to do that because I love laughter.
That makes so much sense to me where all of these gifts came from.
Well, thank you.
Talk about being able to take these experiences that you've had and create an incredible career for yourself. When you saw Carol Burnett and get the Emmy and you said, I'm leaving Kentucky and I'm heading to California, what happened? You just got in the car?
No, Lord, that was a large time span. I mean, I was 4 the first time I saw it. My family has cassette tapes of 4-year-old me telling everybody what I'm doing. I'm packing up and I'm going to have my own show and I'm going to make people laugh. They're like, okay, girl, it's cassettes. That's how long ago it was, y'all. And I just believed it. And I was lucky enough to have a family that never told me no. They weren't like, that's crazy. You need to run the funeral home. They were like, girl, if you want to do it, do it. If God's put it in your heart, go. I was like, okay. I just believed that I could. So I did. And went to school, worked my butt off, ended up going to Arizona State for college. I walk on for a tennis scholarship because I didn't know how I was going to pay for that. But I was like, I'm a little bit closer to California. And then finally, I used to wait tables at Planet Hollywood. If there's any Planet Hollywood people out there.
I
Did you really?
Tables, though, and it was the best job ever.
Oh, okay. It was the best job ever. And I think it should be taught. I think it should be taught from the moment you're able to serve in high school through like at least sophomore year. I think food and beverage and hospitality as a whole should be taught, because some people are not kind people, and y'all need to learn not to be buttholes. Because let me tell you something, you don't want to be a hateful mess to anybody in the service industry. I don't care if it's housekeeping that's making your bed, going in your room. I don't care if it's somebody sitting you at a Chili's.
Right.
Be good
Exactly.
to people. Be good to people.
Hey, gorgeous friends. Just for a second, if you would do me a huge favor, if Potential to Powerhouse has touched your heart, inspired you, made you pause, made you think differently, been a resource for you, would you do me the favor to right now take a second to give us a rating and review? It makes such a difference, and we so appreciate hearing from you. Thank you. High five.
I used to work at Planet Hollywood, and I worked at Planet Hollywood at Arizona State and in Phoenix. And then they gave me an opportunity to be a corporate trainer for them. So I got to travel around and open up Planet Hollywood. It's like, I mean, Jakarta, Honolulu. What? Me? I'm like, hey, do y'all want some pot stickers? I don't even know what I'm doing. I just knew how to read a manual and be kind to people. And so from there, they opened one in Beverly Hills. I moved to Beverly Hills, and I was like, oh, look at me. Manifest destiny. I'm moving to California. That's when I knew, I swear, from the moment I got to Los Angeles, even back then, I knew I was home. I was like, yep, this is it. And through all the yahoo-ness of LA, I've lived here, Lord, off and on. I only moved away for the pandemic. I moved for 2 years of the pandemic, but I've lived here since 1997. And it's just home. It's anybody that lives and is lucky enough to come to visit Southern California, there's just something real magical about it. And not just entertainment business, just in general. I feel like the whole city's made up of doers and a bunch of dreamers and people from their small town that wanted to do more and just create more, therefore give back more, hopefully. And that's what made me want to be here and stay. And so I've just been I look back now and I'm like, I'm so grateful for the wild ride I'm still on, just following every ping that's put in you.
So in terms of your first, did you start in comedy and then get your first show, or what? How did you move from the Planet Hollywood trainer?
Yeah. Working at the old Planet Hollywood, then went over to the Hard Rock Cafe. Your girl had to be diverse. Then went to work at Hard Rock. And then I started doing stand-up, and I would just do open mics. Anywhere I could get on and do stand-up, I did stand-up. I was so lucky and grateful. And then I started auditioning. People were like, you need to audition for sitcoms. I was like, I don't want to act. I really didn't. I didn't know how to do it. It didn't light me on fire. And at the time, there wasn't hosting, which we now traditionally know, like a host of a show from, and there was no reality television yet, y'all. And I was like, sure, yeah, okay, I guess. And I ended up testing, which means you're going to network to be chosen between like you and two other actors for a few sitcoms. And I remember actors that were extremely seasoned that now that are now technically, not technically, they are Oscar winners, I was up against. And I'm like, well, I have no business being here. Like, I kept thinking, I don't know what I adore you. I don't know. Like, how did I end up here?
Wow.
But I think it's just because the roles I went out for, I could honestly be those people. So they just happened to be perfect. And then from there, I started getting cast on as a host, right? And people were like, she can just read. I could read teleprompter. I don't know how I know how to do it, y'all. Like, it's a natural gift to me. I can read it as slow or as quick as I need. It's a very special skill. If you've ever tried it, if you don't know it, it's a gift. And I embrace that now, because at the time I thought, well, everybody knows how to do this. No, they don't. No, they don't. So, as my papa could say, I could walk and chew bubble gum. So I could do
That's
both.
incredible. Yeah. And did you learn that gift, or is there a skill, or is that something? I don't even know how to read a teleprompter.
I will say the very first time it happened, I did an industrial film for Kmart, y'all. You're welcome. I did an industrial for Kmart when they were rolling out an RIP Kmart. They were rolling out some like online shopping. If that tells you again how loved you, Big K. It was 100 million years ago, and they had me do like what they were first like. Look, you can plug into AOL and it was hilarious. And they said, we're going to need you to walk to this location and read this prompter. And I go, okay. And they're like, no, but you're going to have to walk. And I was like, yeah, I know. I caught it the first time. I'm Let's give it a shot. Let's throw it to the wall and see what sticks. And I was like, where am I landing? Is that where I'm looking? Okay. And I did it. And I'll never forget the prompter scroller. There's an actual person, y'all, that sits and actually rolls the prompter for as slow or as fast as you're talking. She said to me, she goes, how long have you been doing this? And I thought she was about to be like, you're horrible. You know, right? I was ready for the takedown. And I said, this is my first time. And her eyes literally like I ooged out of her head, like popped forward a little bit. And I was like, what'd I do? And she was, we're going to be out of here before lunch. I'm going to need you to slow down because we're all on a day rate.
No.
And I said, what? She goes, you're really good. So I was expecting you to be not good. And I was like, well, are you being funny? She goes, no, you're killing this. So she was like, really? Like, we're on a day rate, but they'll cut this in half if you're done in the next 3 hours. Because she's like, I was so ready for you to be horrid. And I was like, and at lunch, I pressed her, like, is there any? She goes, no, you're doing the right thing. You wait till the words hit the arrow. When it hits the arrow, it just slides. And so that it's natural conversation. But a lot of people tend to read. And I don't. I learn the script in my brain, and then I just go, I'll make it make the most sense. You know, I'll just throw it to the wall and see what sticks. So it's also, I think, Tracy, and you know this too, it's connecting with people in business and in any communication. When you're lucky enough to know how to engage with people, a prompter is just an extension of who's on the other side of that camera. So I just try to make everybody feel like they're part of whatever I'm talking about.
That's so incredible. So, you know, they talk about imposter syndrome. We always hear about this. And you know, there's this place in which none of us feel like we know what we're doing until all of a sudden someone turns to us and says, wow, you're really good at that. Did you know you're really good at that? And you're like, I am. And all of a sudden there's this shift that takes place. At least it has for me in my past, where all of a sudden the confidence of like, I'm actually good at this and I can do it, which then gives you the repetitive, like lean in to be able to do it again and again. Did you find that day to be a kind of a shift for your whole next level of what you did?
I wasn't smart enough yet. I was too young. I struggle with imposter syndrome to this very day, where I have to talk myself off of a ledge, and anybody that doesn't tell you that's full of it. And if they're not, good for them. They should be doing TED Talks every 3 to 5 minutes, because we're all just trying to figure it out, right? Everybody's just trying to figure it out. So I was too young and inexperienced to realize that it's in my gift sets the way I know it to be now. And I'm words of affirmation all day long. So if somebody's saying, but I also, same thing, I take direction really well. So that also, if someone says to me, hey, you were close, but why don't we try this? I'm not going to melt. I'm not going to, I go, awesome, let's do it. Like, I love finding the new way, Rubik's cubing out what works. And I've learned not to get married to stuff and, you know, throw the baby out with the bathwater, because we all get blind spots when we get passionate about something. And you might be missing the one thing that could make you better, all because you're so married to like, I'm going to do this. It has to be this way because I had this vision. Honey, let it go. If it's meant to be that vision, I promise you it'll come back. So that for me, I thought I was going to be, amazing comedian. I'm going to be Rosie O'Donnell, get my own talk show. Everybody's going to, I'm going to be so fun. Like, I really thought everybody's going to think I'm the greatest thing in the whole. It didn't go like that. I actually reverse engineered my career because I moved out here to do comedy. Comedy's my first love, here being Los Angeles. It's my first love. The joy I get to bring laughter to people, I can't put it into words. I tell people all the time, you pay me to travel and get everywhere and do. When I walk on a stage, that's 1,000% free. The money's to leave the house and, all the logistics. To stand on a stage, I 100% do it for free because it is such a joy to have that exchange. And I don't care what's going on in the world. You just make people forget or feel better. Or we've made an agreement as an audience and a comic to go, I've got you, you got me, let's do this. And I love that.
Do you get nervous, Trish? Do you ever get nervous when you go on stage?
I used to get nervous, but more it's because I want so badly for everybody to have such a great time. I know people have gotten sitters. I know people paid money for tickets. I know that they're tired. It took all they had to put on a clean shirt and come out. I know. So I get this nervous energy of I want what you've invested in to be as amazing. I don't get nervous that I'm going to be good because I'm like, I know somebody above me's got my back, so if I get out there and faint, it'll still be fun. I have this true inner need to make sure everyone feels like they got value. So that's how I do everything in my life. I want to make sure no matter what I am a part of, that I'm bringing value, and you, as someone that's enjoying that energy, sees the value. They're not like, anybody could have done this. I want people to go, I love her, yay, because I've got you, and I want people to know that I'm not going to bring you something that's mess all the way around.
Hey folks, I'm excited to share with you the launch and announcement of Inner Fifth. Are you a female entrepreneur seeking a place to find your people? If you want to hear from experts on how to build your business and create more wealth, better relationships, find your purpose, and enhance your health, go check out innerfifth.com to learn more about the high performance community for growth driven female entrepreneurs who are seeking a way to connect with each other. We are all about moving through issues, upscaling, and wealth creation. If this calls to you, check out innerfifth.com, click on learn more, and come and join us.
And do you write your own jokes? Is everything yours? And you can really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. First of all, Tracy, I can't wait for you to come see me. Most of my stuff, I tell stories. I'm a storyteller. There's two kinds of comics. There's joke tellers and storytellers. I'm for sure a storyteller. Most of it's about my ridiculous family. I think everybody could really be comedians if they got up and told the stories on their people. I mean, everything. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. The funniest things are true. The funniest things are true.
You can't even make this stuff up half the time. You're like, is this really happening? At Thanksgiving.
It really,
come on.
Any holiday. My mom is a pill. And I always say to people, they're so lucky if they've got a good mama. Some people have sweet mamas I can't wait to talk to. I don't. My mom's like a trip to Vegas. Yeah, like if we've been around each other 72 hours, it's too long. Somebody's losing money or going to jail. Like it's not. But I know that about my mama, and I love her, and I do everything I can to meet her where she's at. But that's the stuff we talk about, because when I'm on stage, a lot of people don't want to talk about it. They're like, let's be shiny about it, especially Southern people. We love to be like, no, everything's fine. No, it's not fine. And it's okay to co-sign somebody else's crazy, as I like to say. It's okay.
No, gosh, I didn't know we had that in common.
Oh, we'll discuss. Let me tell you. Whoo! What a time to be alive. I call myself, and I've always called her Judy my whole life. People are like, oh, are you adopted? I was like, no, that's, as far as I know, that's my birth mama. But I've called her Judy because I've just been like her. She's my kid to a degree. I love her. I will always be there for her, but we have a very different dynamic. And some people get very uncomfortable with that. And I'm like, it's okay. And some people lean in and go, oh, thank the goodness. I got that mama too.
One of the things that I love so much about you, Trish, is that you have an amazing aesthetic. Like you can walk into a home or into a space or into a QVC lot and be on live television, and you bring ease and an organized approach to how to think about home decor, home editing, how to create a home. Like, where did that come from?
Well, the funeral business, number one. Short beginnings to that was the funeral business, because my grandfather had the funeral business, his brother had the real estate company, and they also had the bank. So when families had to liquidate or have estate sales, they took me and I had to learn at a very young age how to help families, how to go through things that people held on to. My papa always saying you can't take stuff with you, even though he was first generation born American and, had that Depression era hoarding thing himself. So it was I learned a lot about what matters and putting things that matter in a place of honor. And then I was lucky enough, some people may know me from a makeover show I was on for a decade called Clean House. It was hosted by Niecy Nash and myself and Matt Eisman, who's on American Ninja Warrior, and another designer named Mark Brunettes. And so we did that for a decade. I was also known as the yard sale diva. I'm air quoting that if y'all aren't watching us. And I was a yard sale diva. So the premise of the show is we would pull out your clutter, sell it at a yard sale, and then use that money to renovate and redecorate your home. So I used to say it was hoarders 1.0. It wasn't people that were clinically ill and were holding on to trash and odd things, but the show was on for so many years. We did 300 episodes total. So it was a lot of TV. Yeah. Grateful for every moment of it. And people start going, oh my gosh, I know you. Yeah. I've dug in a lot of people's stuff. And I think because I saw people overwhelmed at their worst, looking at why people held on to stuff, I didn't want that ever to be my life. And I wanted to come home to the opposite environment. So I wanted to make sure, number one, aesthetically, everything had a place and a place for everything. I love cleanliness. It brings me great joy. Like some people rake a Zen garden. I'm like, honey, I'm
That's how I am. I love
Don't you love that?
I love everything put in its spot. Everything goes in its own little place.
There's something really magical about organization that makes you feel better, that lightens your load. Like right now, my own closet looks like a bomb has gone off. Forgive myself daily. I'm like, give yourself grace, because I'm having to lighten that load. And even people that are super organized go through it, because we go through and go, why suddenly was I holding on to this? Like with our wildfires in California, and I know you were severely affected by that, and we had to get our go boxes ready. I walked into my closet and I went, this is ridiculous, because what I chose to take was what was in the dryer, because that's what we wear the most, right? In the state of the world. And that means 90% of what I owned, I was okay with it, unfortunately, leaving this earth. And I was like, we need to have a come to Jesus right now, sister. Like those are the moments that you have to check yourself, because we don't realize how fast things accumulate. And I can go on and on about clutter. But that for me is learning to live as minimal and as intentional as possible. And that in my design aesthetic is the same, and my sensibilities for people is the same, because we all want less and be able to have more. And in the inflation and everything costing more now, it's just learning to be intentional and where to spend money and how to do it. And brands ask me a lot to work with them, and I say no more than I say yes, which I never thought I'd do in my life, because I don't want people to have clutter, and I do not want to contribute to that. And I only want people to have things that when they look at it, if I was the one that helped them make that purchase, like, oh Lord, I love Trish, thank goodness she got me. Like, I want you to think and know that I had your back when you were like, oh, I need that.
Right.
I need that.
Right.
You do need it. So that's been very, very much a part of my personal aesthetic and my design aesthetic, and in what I make sure I'm a part of or partnered with, because I don't want anyone to not live well. We all deserve to live well.
And guess what? One thing you've given me, many things you've given me, but one thing you've given me is a deep appreciation for living in an RV. And what does that even mean? Like Tracy M. Holland, to say I would go camping after my reform school 2-year prison sentence that I had with in my high school. I say prison, I say that loosely because it was a very expensive, bougie boarding school. It just happened to be a child jail.
Where was this? Tracy, I need to know this information.
Yeah, no,
what?
My parents sent me to reform school when I was 14. So I was there from 14 to 16. And it was digging ditches and wheelbarrowing and a lot of hard labor along with academic rigor. And that was one of the things that taught me so much discipline. But it also gave me a deep appreciation for living in a small space, because I had a dorm space that I shared with 7 other women, 7 other girls. So there were 8 of us crammed into a dorm. We all lived in these little bunk bed spaces. And so I thought to myself, because part of the academic rigor was we had to do wilderness survival trips as part of this 2-year stint. So I swore to myself I would never, ever camp again. And
I would agree with you after that. By the way, this is high end camping. So I will never, ever, ever ask you to be out in that we will never wilderness rough it. I promise you.
You have done a great job sharing with me or showing me what is possible in small spaces, because what you've been able to create, which I love with what you're doing with Camping World, is that you've been able to create these beautiful, bougie, high-end experiential RV experiences or fifth wheel, which I thought sounded so Kentucky hicky.
I know. Hey, girl, listen. Wait, there's something to be. Now you're looking at them going, wait a second. I've taught Tracy what's a travel trailer, what's a Class C, a Class A. Class A's are like tour buses, y'all. Zip on over to my Instagram. You'll be able to see all the craziness we're talking about. But you're right. A lot of people, and by the way, let me tell y'all, I too was the same. I mean, I grew up in the mountains of Kentucky. I thought, Lord, if you have got an RV, the world's over. Like I was such a Judge Judy. I was my own mama about an RV. I was like, no, I don't. And then I happened to get to work with Camping World in 2020. And first of all, possibly one of the nicest corporations I've ever been associated with. And I've been lucky to be with some huge ones. And they are the sweetest, top to bottom, the most wonderful human beings. And it also makes you excited to spend money with them. Because I'm like, y'all are good all the way through. From somebody in the service department to the CEO, everybody's it all. And that's hard to say. And I've been around them all. And like I know, Tracy, some people along the way can be a mess. Nah. They're all sweet. So I got to go over there and go, okay, well, what really is this world that is camping? And in 2020, because we were all so isolated, a lot of people wanted to get outdoors. What a great way to do it. And I thought, okay, well, they're just trying to sell RVs. Well, then I start learning about all the ways. I have 3-step kids. To travel with 5 people, and Tracy knows you've got your own 3 baby. Everybody, when you're traveling and having to get hotel rooms for all these children, because they're now like grown. I have a 19, a 21, and 27-year-old. Nobody's sleeping in beds together and camping. Everybody has to have a dedicated space. It's expensive. And so when you can get these RVs and buy them for a fraction of what you're paying to take everybody on one vacation, let alone go out 3 or 4 times a year, I was like, what are we doing? We're doing the wrong thing. This has kitchen islands. This has flat screen TVs and fireplaces and 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. And I'm like, some of them have 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, and a half bath. I'm going, what in the world? And they're incredibly affordable, y'all. So as soon as I was lucky enough to get that education, I went, we all need to know this, because I know if I was being a Judge Judy from the mountains of Kentucky, can you imagine how many smart, educated people are out there being just as judgy as me? So It's been such a great experience. And I love that I get messages from people every day going, I would have never looked at an RV if it hadn't been for you. I'm like, oh, thank you so much. That brings me joy. I have people buying them now that were like, girl, I thought they were tacky as mud. And now I'm like, we're on our second one. I'm like, are you kidding me? They're like, no, we've dry docked one in the lake at the guest house. This one woman got one as a guest house because she didn't want her grandkids in her main house. I was like, I love you, and you run a tight ship. Right. So she has one that's the bunkhouse for the teenagers out at their farm. And she built a full deck around it. So it's this gorgeous, like beautiful guest house. And I thought, we all have to think differently now. The world is changing. Affordability is changing. And I want everyone to look at things differently and what's available and possible for you. Like you were saying, having to be in a dorm situation with 7 other girls, like 8, think about that. You're like, oh my gosh, this is just worse than camp because you're there for 2 years. You need things that make you feel special in a small space. And I'm like, that's what's next, is educating everybody. You don't have to have a 5,000 square foot house to live well. You just don't.
And I mean, how cool is it to just have the freedom and flexibility to just pack up and just take off?
Yes. Yes. And move to, look, think about this, y'all. This is the coolest thing that I got from the world of camping and people that do it year round, because there are people that actually live in their fifth wheels, which are the bigger RVs you see towed by trucks, like big trucks. Those are called fifth wheels. People will live year round in them. And I was like, what do you mean? Well, honey, they'll live in the summer up in like Northern California, Yosemite, Colorado, in the mountains. Then they go south to like Florida. They'll go to the Carolina. They follow great weather so that, and look at in the fall, they'll go to the Northeast so that they can constantly move with weather that suits their personality, whatever that may be. Right? That whatever, you might be someone that wants snow in the winter, good on you. But there are people like, no, I just want to constantly be able to pick up and move. And it's so much more affordable. And I was like, that's what's beautiful about the quote unquote American dream. It can be any way to anybody. It doesn't have to be your traditional single family stick built home.
And I just felt so inspired when I learned. First of all, it's an amazing journey that you've been on and have had so much success, Trish, with your show and your comedy and your public persona is so big. And then to be able to bridge that into the thing that you actually really love, which is home decor and home editing and organizing and bringing beauty into a home, and do that with Camping World, and do that in some ways what you foresee as your next iteration or entrepreneurial venture, which I'm really excited to get to participate and witness. I just think, it's always good for the listener to hear that each of us have our own path, and it's never a linear straight path. There's never a way to be able to stitch it together and say, it's like a combo. And I'm curious about your opinion on this. It's like all of your experiences mixed into the soup of like what nobody else could be is you, this unique soup of uniqueness that goes in, plus just following your heart and doing the things that you love.
Thank you for saying that. And I think you're 100% right. I think we all, when we start to look back and look back out of just admiration, because a lot of times we don't take the time. I know I certainly don't. I'm not as good about going, look at that. You had to go through all that to get to here. I mean, I was at the Game Show Network for 2 years. Who in Lord's name thought I'd be hosting game shows and working for Game Show Network, then to go on to do 4 years at QVC? And you're thinking, what in the world? Like, what is this woman? I can tap dance on a Cheerio, y'all. There isn't anything what I've learned about myself is all of those experiences have strengthened my trust muscle in me. Meaning, if it brings me joy, if it lights me up, I used to play small. I'd go, oh, yeah, that's probably not my lane. I'm not. Who says? If they want to see you, who says? Get out of your own way. Quit saying the thing like, well, I know I'm just not. Well, then guess what? You're not. My papa would always say, and I'm sure it wasn't his quote, but he'd always say it to me. He'd go, whether you believe it or not, you're right. Whether you believe it or not, you're right. Like, if you believe that's what's going to happen, guess what? You're right. If you don't think you're good enough, yes, ma'am. But if you think you are, honey, get out there and shine. And I'm like, yeah. He is. The two things he would say to me all the time that I'd be like, huh? That makes no sense. Was that? And he would say, he'd call me PK, Patricia Kelly. He'd go, PK, don't step over hundreds to pick up fives. He would always say, don't step over that big thing because you can see the quick grab. Don't step over that $100 bill because you can see that five and you can snatch it right now. Pay attention to the thing that's the long game, because cheap's expensive. You don't want to do the quick things in your life when you look back and go, man, because I don't like shoulda, woulda, couldas, and I know we've all got them to a degree, but I've minimized mine for sure. And I think that really is knowing to trust yourself more and trust your gut more. And we will all have days we doubt ourselves, but man, you've got to bet on you. Because if you aren't betting on you, you aren't giving anybody the trust to bet on you.
Man, your grandpa had some good nuggets.
Oh. He was the best, man. That was my favorite. And my favorite was always don't step over hundreds to pick up fives, because I didn't understand it till I was probably about 30. And I thought, man, he's right. Don't try to go for that quick grab, because it will show up, and it always has.
Well, and whether you believe it or not, you're right. Hello.
You're right. Yeah.
That's juicy.
Whether you believe it or not, you're right.
That is literally the title of this podcast, and that's my new mantra.
Right. Oh, Tracy, I say that to myself, honestly, at least 5-6 times a day. I'm like, girl, whether you believe it or not, you're right. Like,
because that's a lot of power.
This is going to work out. Why don't you get up today and say, bam? Because guess what? Bam. You're going to be right. You're going to be right if you go today. It's going to work out.
For sure.
Listen, something awesome is going to happen to me today. That's how I walk into every day now. And I'm like, I don't care if I find $1 next to my car. I'm like, something awesome just happened.
I know.
I'm lit on fire. Yeah, because it really is just, and I know that probably sounds woo-woo. No. And you can listen to any personal development, wonderful person, good if you are. But I think if you go into everything, and it's not Pollyanna or toxic positivity, I think when you train your brain, because all your brain's doing is looking for something to do, right? It's going, what way can I see this? What way can I frame this? And when you frame it from a place of, how is this day going to be awesome? How can I be better for somebody and their day's going to be awesome?
Yeah.
It's contagious in the best kind of way.
That's juicy. Thank you for that. I needed that today too. Where can people find you? Where if they want to track you or find out when your next comedy show is? Because I'm coming whenever.
I know. I can't wait. You have to come. I have to do an hour here in LA because I'm not going to make you travel. You can go to, I'm at trishsuhr.com, TRISHSUHR.com. It's all my tour dates. But I am at Trish Suhr on all social media. So TRISHSUHR. If you want to reach out to me, DM me on Instagram because I'm the worst at answering Facebook. I'll tell you right now. I get overwhelmed on Facebook.
Me too.
It just sends me into a spin. I don't get it. But Instagram, I guess it's my generation. Yeah. I can do it. I'm fine. Okay, good. So I'd love for y'all to say hi and come out to a show and say hi. But thank you for having me on, because I know you have on big hoop-de-doo people and Tracy's a big hoop-de-doo person. I wanted to interview her, but I guess you can't.
You are the hoop-de-doo person too.
Well, look, we're all just in it together. That's my attitude anymore.
And so grateful.
We're all
to
in
be.
it together, and I'm so grateful.
Thank you, Trish. That was juicy. And I'm going to take some of those nuggets and share those with every single person who's going to be tuning in to listen to this, because this is what they need to hear. This fills your cup.
You're made to do it. You're made to do it. Whether you believe you are or you aren't, you're right.
Exactly.
So you're made to do it.
All right. High five.